Imagine this: a song born out of a tragic farewell, an elegy pinned down in memory of a beloved friend. We're peeling back the layers of an enduring bond between two music legends, Paul McCartney and John Lennon. It's the tale of a friendship that weathered storms, dissolved under strain, yet found its poignant expression in the last song McCartney wrote for Lennon. Today, we're embarking on a journey through the Beatles' tumultuous history, the friendship between McCartney and Lennon, their fallouts, reconciliations, and Lennon's tragic assassination. We'll explore the song that McCartney crafted in remembrance of Lennon, its origins, its lyrics, its significance, an everlasting testament to their shared past and the undying connection between them. This is more than a saga of a renowned musical duo. It's about friendship, shared experiences, the beauty and catharsis of music. Stick around to unravel the rich tapestry of emotions concealed in the chords and lyrics of this evocative melody.
Won't you think about me every now and then, my old friend?
After the Beatles' breakup, the occasional meetings between Lennon and McCartney were overshadowed by constant arguments and attacks that marked an enmity that forever separated the most successful songwriting partnership of the 20th century. The problems had existed since 1965, but the height of the rivalry marked a rift in the friendship that could never fully heal. McCartney, over the years in a diplomatic way, said that they had ended well, but what is a fact is that his brotherly relationship was never the same again. After the Beatles' breakup, they met only a couple of times. In 1974, they recorded a jam session with their friends, and in 1976, they almost made a surprise appearance on Saturday Night Live, but in the end, nothing happened. After that, there were only phone calls every few months and a meeting that was cancelled by Yoko. Lennon and McCartney never saw each other again after 1976, where, in an act of anticipated farewell, John Lennon said goodbye to Paul, saying, "Think about me every now and then, my old friend." Sometime later, Paul McCartney would hear his phrase again in a song that Carl Perkins had written. It was 1981, and in the recordings of his album, Tug of War, Paul McCartney cried the death of John Lennon while listening to this song. On April 24th, 1976, Lennon and McCartney were together in Lennon's apartment at the Dakota. They were watching the famous Saturday Night Live show when producer Lorne Michaels offered to the Beatles $3,000 for a reunion on the show, all as a joke. The producers never imagined that two of the four Beatles were watching the show that night, and that they were only a few blocks away from the set where it was being recorded live. John and Paul considered for a moment heading to the building, showing up unexpectedly and asking for half of the money. It would have been epic, but arguing that they were tired, they rejected the crazy idea, and unfortunately, we lost the opportunity to see that historic moment. The next day, McCartney reappeared at the Dakota to hang out with Lennon, who, upon seeing him, turned him down, explaining that he was busy with his son, Sean. That was a period when Paul just kept turning up at my door with a guitar. I would let him in, but finally I said to him, "Please, call before you come over. It's not 1956, and turning up at the door isn't the same anymore. You know, just give me a ring." He was upset by that, but I didn't mean it badly. "I just meant that I was taking care of a baby all day, and some guy turns up at the door," said Lennon. After this fact, and due to Lennon's refusal, the relationship between the two of them would take distance again, and they would never see each other again. Over the years, they only talked to each other on the phone a couple of times, the last time being just a few months before Lennon's death.
It was very special to me that we reached that point, actually, because, you know, you'd had the whole horrible thing of the group breaking up. I think we just realized, come on, guys, we love each other. What are we doing? We're messing around. And I ring John, and I was baking bread and got quite good at it, you know. So when I heard John was doing it, it was great. We could just talk about something so ordinary. There's no threat or anything. It was just two guys talking about, well, I don't know, would you leave it overnight? Or what do you do? You know, and so on. So I said, yeah, I leave it overnight in a hot cupboard. And you'd just be chatting. And it was really nice. And I was so glad that we got back to that relationship that we'd always had, you know, when we were kids. We'd lived in each other's pockets for so long that it was great to get back to that.
Paul also mentioned that Lennon had told him of his desire to concentrate on his career again, and even joked that he wanted to stop being a housewife as he was focusing entirely on his domestic life in those years. And in saying goodbye on that last call, Lennon told McCartney, "Think of me from time to time, my old friend." John Lennon was murdered on December 8th, 1980.
I was very shocked, It's terrible news.
What were you recording today?
I was just listening to some stuff, I just didn't want to sit at home.
Why?
Well, I didn't feel like it.
What time did you hear the news?
This morning sometime. Very early. Yeah. Done now, yeah? Drag, isn't it? Okay, cheers. Here. Bye.
After John's death, and with the world in shock, Paul McCartney gave a cold statement to the media a few hours after his death. McCartney was criticized for his cold attitude to the media. He was in shock. Paul was working on his new album, Tug of War, his new recording project. In it, he collaborated again with George Martin and had some stellar collaborations with Ringo Starr, Stevie Wonder, and Carl Perkins. Paul's admiration for Perkins was always known. All the Beatles were declared fans of the guitarist and composer, and Perkins was always grateful for the covers that the band did of his songs. Even Carl Perkins told that he was in a recording session with the Beatles, and later legends were made that he had played with them. Going back to Paul's album, the track chosen to work with Perkins was Get It, and once the recordings were finished, Perkins gave Paul a song he had written the previous morning. Perkins had woken up in the middle of the night with the lyrics in mind, and the next day, he played it for Paul and Linda in gratitude for having put him up in their house. The song was called My Old Friend, and an excited Paul started to listen to it while Perkins sang it to him, and when the last phrase of the chorus came out, McCartney burst into tears. "If we never meet again this side of life, in a little while over yonder where it's peace and quiet, my old friend, won't you think about me every now and then?" Not knowing what the matter was, Carl stopped, a bit shaken. Didn't Paul like the song? Linda warmly put her arms around Carl and thanked him. She said the song was getting Paul to finally connect with his grief over John Lennon's death. Linda explained that the last time Paul talked to him, he had said the same line to Paul, "Think about me every now and then, my old friend." Carl and Linda were now convinced that the song had been channeled from John Lennon's spirit as a gift to Paul. Finally, in 1993, Perkins invited McCartney to record the song from his last album. Paul accompanied him and produced part of his last tour, and he has been always grateful with the song, because in a certain way, it captured the last moment of Lennon and McCartney. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and comment.
Won't you think about me every now and then, my old friend? If we never meet again this side of life, my old friend, won't you think about me every now and then?
Carl.
And that was the little girl that answered the original phone call. Hello?
Paul McCartney just called.
Belle, are you kidding me?
No, but I didn't answer the phone. I was in the...
Paul McCartney. Now listen, I'm telling you guys.
Hear me?
He left his number